Mama, the long-awaited day is here, birth. And I actually hope that you are listening to this before your birth, because during birth, something like this is not going to be very helpful. Nonetheless, we are still going to talk about birth and the different ways to birth a baby and my experience with that, and just some things for you to be aware of what birth is like, and what happens in birth, and what's going to happen with your body and with baby's body. All things that are so good to know with the final arrival of your baby. This pregnancy has been so hard, and it's going to end in something amazing and something beautiful, but you do have to go through the hard labor and delivery first. So let's start talking about labor and delivery, which brings about the birth of your sweet little baby. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5 and host of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find the positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Let's find positivity during our pregnancies and in our motherhood together. Thanks for joining. My name is Jocelyn. I am the host of Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood, and I encourage women to find positive thoughts during pregnancy. Pregnancy was very hard for me, and we have been going week by week along a pregnancy, and I have been giving you different mindset tips to help you along. Today we are going to talk about different ways to bring your baby into this world and things that come with that, and also I will touch on some mental things that have helped me in each of these. So I'm a little bit unique in that I have had birth like a lot of the ways. I've had a C-section, I had a V-bac, I had a induction with an epidural. I went into labor on my own and then got an epidural. I did a all natural unmedicated birth that was a little bit of a traumatic experience, and then another all natural unmedicated birth that was a lot better and a beautiful experience. So I actually have a lot of experience birthing babies. I have not done twins, but I've had 5 babies and 1 miscarriage. So doing it all those different ways, I have had experience. I know healing from them, and we're going to touch a little bit on each. Now, you could spend quite a bit of time on each, and in fact, I think I've done podcasts on a lot of the ways that I've done it, and I will find those and link them in the show notes, and those will be there for you if you have a specific way that you're going to have a baby. We are going to start with the C-section, and I do have to say that my C-section was not an ideal C-section. So there is that. If you are looking to have a C-section, I encourage you to visit with women who have had C-sections and get some really firm reasoning on why you need a C-section. My C-section, I am very grateful it happened, because without it, I would not be here, and neither would my son. It was an emergency, and they got that baby out, and he was in the NICU for a long time, and it was the worst healing of my life. It was so hard. In fact, I remember that the first time they made me go take a shower, well, they didn't make me, but I wanted to take a shower at the hospital, and I hurt so bad. It was the most horrific pain I have ever had, and I kind of actually vowed to myself in the shower that I didn't want more babies if it was all going to be like that, because it was so painful. But this is not the ideal experience. I also was pretty much on a deathbed with, I had eclampsia, which you've probably heard of preeclampsia. Eclampsia is a step along from preeclampsia. Preeclampsia means before seizures. Eclampsia means you're having seizures. I was having seizures, and that turned into HELLP syndrome, which is even worse. But we're not here to talk about that right now. I'm just here to talk about the C-section. So with the C-section, your body, you're going to have pain in different places, obviously. So instead of having like vaginal soreness, you are going to have scar soreness. And with C-sections, they usually keep you in the hospital longer. Mine, I was definitely in there a lot longer, but I was also dying. So I was in labor and delivery for a full week, which I think they said that was the longest day they had ever had a mom in labor and delivery because things were not good. So use that for what it's worth. I don't have favorable opinions on C-sections, but it's also because of everything else that went on. And so the second time around, I knew I wanted to try a V-bac. And so that's what I did. That whole pregnancy was a little traumatic, a lot of mental stress. If you are actually having mental stress, I feel to say this right now, I actually haven't talked about this a lot. In fact, I don't think I've even brought it up once during this whole 40-week pregnancy that I've gone into. But if you have had a traumatic birth, I encourage you to get a coach. I had a post-traumatic pregnancy coach. She was amazing, and I will put her information in the show notes. And I just paid her per time. I didn't meet with her a ton, but she helped me. And that actually wasn't on my second pregnancy. It was on my 5th pregnancy, and I still had some of those issues. So I would encourage that if you want to have more kids and you had a traumatic birth, to look into a post-traumatic birth coach. I don't know why, but my mind just went blank of her name. I will look it up and remember and tell you by the end of the episode. Nonetheless, for my second birth, I wanted to do a V-bac. So that's what I actually ended up doing. I had a V-bac, and I had some bloody show, and I was at a normal OBGYN, and so he was like, let's just induce you, and I didn't know different, so I did. And those contractions from Pitocin hurt so bad. I was only at a 4 and felt like I was dying, and so I got the epidural. With the epidural, the thing about the epidural is that you can't really move your legs. Well, you can't. You're supposed to, well, let's back up a little bit. So an epidural, they basically take like a really big needle, put it in your back, and it numbs you from the waist down. So you can't feel the contractions any longer. You can't feel them going on, which can be a blessing because they can be very painful. My opinion is that Pitocin contractions are way worse and harder than your normal body contractions. At least that has been my experience. So you do have to hold still, and then after that you can't really move your legs or feel anything. So you don't even know when the baby's moving down. You don't know when you need to push. You don't really know how to push because you can't feel yourself pushing. It is so weird. So there is all that, but at the same time, you also can relax. And sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you need the epidural just to be able to relax instead of being so uptight and tense. And that's where I was at. I just needed to not have to have those contractions so often that hurt so bad. So I did that. So those are a few things to keep in mind with the epidural. I should have brought these things up at the beginning, but birth is a baby and mom working together to bring baby into this world. Mom's body contracts. Contractions are like cramps on steroids, and they get more intense with time. And once your body reaches 10 centimeters dilation, your baby is ready to be born. So with the epidural, you don't really know when that's happening. So they will check on you, and then they'll tell you when to push. And then the weirdest thing is like pushing and not feeling like you're doing anything. And they'll be like, oh yeah, good job, that was a good one. And you'll be like, what? Did I even do anything? Because with the epidural, you cannot feel anything, which, like I said, can be a huge blessing. The epidurals do come with side effects, or they can come with side effects. Some people get headaches after. The major side effect that I felt was the expense. One of the epidurals, I got an epidural twice. The second one was like $3,000 just for the epidural itself. And that blew my mind and was a very negative side effect that was hard to swallow. So after that, I knew, just even on a financial basis, that I wanted to try an all-natural birth. The nice thing about epidurals is that they do wear off. Most women do have little to no side effects, and your healing is better. So C-section, I feel like the healing, even if you have a normal C-section, the healing takes a little bit longer. With the epidural, it's not as long. You will have the vaginal soreness, and you might tear. So if you have a baby vaginally, that's another part of the birth, of a vaginal birth, is you could tear. I encourage you to see if your doctor helps protect the perineum, because that really helps. Midwives can be good at that because they know what it's like. Talk to your midwife about that. But there are ways to help the babies come out so that you don't tear as bad. Nonetheless, sometimes you do still tear. I think I tore on all of my, 1, 2, 3 V-bacs except for one. So I tore on 3, and then the last one I finally didn't tear. And if you don't tear, it just feels so much better down there. I mean, you're still sore, but the tears can just make things a little more sore for a few days. So the aftercare on each is going to be different. If you have a baby vaginally, those peri bottles are really nice, witch hazel wipes. A couple of my pregnancies, they did like a cold compress, like ice pack that you could kind of sit on. For my other pregnancies later on, they actually didn't do that as much. And I don't remember the reason why, but there are things you do to help keep that area clean and healing. With a C-section, you're going to have scar care. So a little bit different, but still care that you have to do. There's plus and minuses to each of them. When it comes to having a baby all natural, it took me 3 tries to get there. I wanted to try on my third baby, but when I was dilated to like a 7, it just was getting too hard, so I got the epidural. I do recommend that it takes a lot of mental preparation to have a baby all natural, and a good team that's going to support you in that endeavor is vital. I think my third pregnancy, I probably could have done it if I would have had the right team, but I had a medical doctor who is used to medical things, and I learned that over my pregnancy, that medical doctors like to do things medically, and midwives and such like to do things more naturally, away from medically. And with how much things cost and just my own desires, I really wanted to have a baby all natural. So with my fourth, I had planned to do it all natural, but we got to the hospital and she checked me and I was not very far along, and I was really discouraged because my contractions were feeling pretty horrible. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get the epidural. In fact, I had told them that I was ready for the epidural, and then I don't know what happened, but things progressed so fast that I had the baby within not a very long amount of time. I don't remember the exact time frame, but I had basically said, I don't think I can do this. Let's do the epidural. And the contractions just all of a sudden were awful. It was embarrassing. I was a little hysterical. I compared the pain to just I'd rather die type of thing. I was saying stuff like that, and it was not a good experience. It was so hard. But at that birth, I also did not have a midwife. I still had a medical OBGYN, which he actually missed the birth of the baby. The nurses delivered because she did come so fast. And I'm not trying to blame this on the OBGYN, but my 5th time around, I set myself up with a midwife. I set myself up with a doula. I set myself up with some pregnancy coaching. And it made all the difference in the world. It made a big difference to me to have those women around me encouraging me for my desires, for what I wanted, and not wanting to push anything medically that I didn't want unless like I really needed it. But thankfully, I didn't need it. But it does take a lot of mental prep. And if you don't do it or can't do it, there is no shame in that. Like I say, I'm unique. I've had a baby most of the way, all the ways, and it's amazing to still get them here, even if you have to have a C-section, even if you have to get the epidural, even if you're hysterical through labor and delivery, those babies can get here. Some things for aftercare. So I did not know this when I first had a baby. And I don't remember it for my first baby because I was pretty zonked. Like, I didn't even get to go see him for like a full day and a half or so because things were not good medically. But they push on your stomach after you have a baby. So when I had my second baby and they, like, after I had the baby, they started pushing, like, the nurses would come and push on my stomach. It hurt really bad. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is not enjoyable. I've later learned that they do that to help the uterus start shrinking back down. But nonetheless, don't be surprised when they come and they want to push on your belly, and they're not very soft. In fact, they're pretty hard when they push on the stomach. Another thing I did not know or realize, that you bleed for a long time after you have a baby, up to like 6 weeks, and you're not supposed to insert anything in there vaginally. But that's a good long time and can be like, whoa, like, is that normal? Yes, that's normal. I want to talk about baby for a second, and then we will end with a couple of mindset tips. So baby could come out with a cone-shaped head, and that's okay. It's normal if that happens, and it will kind of go back into a normal shape. Their head bones, as we have mentioned in past episodes, can kind of shape and form to get through the birth canal, which is so amazing. Some babies come out crying and some do not. Some of the babies already want to suckle when they come out, and some just kind of are looking around. They are still connected to the umbilical cord, and something about the umbilical cord is it's good if you can to let the umbilical cord finish pumping blood before you clamp it. Your provider, doctor, midwife should know about that. Just tell them you want delayed cord clamping. Their first poop, as we have mentioned in past episodes, is called the meconium. It's like really black, really sticky, gross stuff. It doesn't really smell, but just kind of weird, like almost like tar. For boys, you will want to be thinking about whether or not you're going to want the boy circumcised or not. And this one was new when we had a girl that I didn't know could happen, is that they can actually have like a little bit of blood in their diapers sometimes at the very beginning. And one of my girls did have that. Oftentimes they do not bath the baby right away. I know I have mentioned that before as well, but for some of you that will really gross you out. But for others of you, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. They found that it's actually good for the baby's skin to absorb like what they're born in. So some pretty cool and interesting things with baby. If you are going to nurse, which I highly encourage you for many reasons if you can, is that it's hard, but it's worth it. And this episode's not going to be on nursing. I will do other episodes on that. We're actually going to talk about this 4th trimester for a little bit and all the different things with it. But it is good for baby, mom, and it actually can help mom with weight loss, which is another benefit. Mama, I want you to give yourself grace. And that's going to be my main mindset tip, no matter how you have your baby. Give yourself grace. Out of 5 pregnancies, there has only been one that has gone like the way I really wanted it. All the other 4, there have been something I did or something that I regret or something that I wish would have happened differently. In all those other 4 pregnancies. And something that I've had to learn is to give myself grace. Just because things don't go perfect with my labor and delivery doesn't mean I'm a bad mom. Doesn't mean I'm a bad human. Doesn't mean my body's weak. Doesn't mean I'm weak. Doesn't mean that I can't do hard things. I have learned that I need to give myself grace. And I think that grace finally allowed me in my fifth pregnancy to have a good birth, because I had given myself grace. And I realized that I had hopes for my birth, but I also had so many not go the way that I wanted it to, that I was open to whatever had to happen to get healthy mom and healthy baby. And I think giving myself that grace has been key. So if you have not had your baby yet, give yourself grace with whatever happens. Also, give yourself grace if you have had your baby and you still feel pain or regret over some things that have happened. Give yourself grace, mama. It's not worth holding on to the things you wish you could have done differently. It's not win or lose when it comes to pregnancy or of anything in that happens in life. It's win and learn. And it took me a long time. It's taken me many years and a lot of mindset work to realize that it's not win and lose, it's win and learn. What did I learn from that C-section? What did I learn from being induced? What did I learn from getting the epidural even when I wished I wouldn't have? What did I learn from having a traumatic experience where I went into complete panic and could not relax? And I was screaming at 2 a.m. in the hospital. What did I learn from all of those that helped me to breathe, to relax, and to trust in my 5th pregnancy? I'm hoping that in these episodes you can learn from me, that you can learn from my mistakes and do things better. And one of those things is to give yourself grace. God wants you to release guilt, because guilt is one of the negative emotions that keeps us stuck and not moving forward in the way that God and Jesus Christ would want us to. As Christian mothers, we want to release that guilt and to give ourselves grace. You can do this, Mama. I am cheering for you. Birth is amazing. And we are going to continue talking about what is happening with your body and baby as we progress into this 4th trimester. Just know that I am cheering for you, your family is cheering for you, and God is cheering for you. It will take even more mental work now that you have the baby here to get through some of the hard things that are coming up. But I'm here to support you. These mindset tips will support you if you will use them. Use them. All right, I did want to tell you the name of my birth coach. It was Kim Tanner, and I will put her website in the link. She is awesome. Highly recommend her. Also, my website is going to be under construction. I have some big ideas, big plans, but I'm also doing it myself. So if you want to just offer a quick prayer that Jocelyn will be able to struggle her way through technology and figure out a new website, that would be great, because I feel very strongly, at least right now, that this is the route I need to take with my website. So I will still have the direct link to the pregnancy course in the show notes, but my website will currently be under construction. So wish me luck there, and good luck, Mama. We will chat again next week. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts and becoming the mother that you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. Thanks for joining. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward in your motherhood. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.